when you've put the technology out there, have you been able to elicit feedback from the onlookers, the viewers, the people there at the airport, and how do they feel about the experience?
Yeah, it's funny. The kids and young children, they respond in a in a more impulsive way. So when we have kids and we show artworks from the students from the art academy, one of those films is showing horses. Kids, they point at it, say, "Look, mom, there's horses in the window," and it kind of, because the window is a bit, it's rather big, and you look up, so it's really part of the construction there. So it's kind of impressive and immersive in that sense, and it's super wide angle. It's like a landscape. So all of a sudden there's like horses in the glass, and kids, they respond so well to this, and they really show the enthusiasm. But of course, there's other people that, you know, just sit in their chairs and they watch it, but they also might, you know, watch their phones. I mean, that happens. It's not that people are glued to our window, but it just adds, like I said, with that poetry, they get a glimpse of the poetry. Maybe it puts a seed in them, say, hey, words can actually be used in different ways. Words have more meaning than I thought. But what is very apparent is we have a game. So we have Pong, that classic tennis game. So we can turn that entire facade into a retro Pong game, and then you control the batons, the tennis rackets, with your smartphone. So you log in with the QR code. And then, yeah, okay, maybe I might make it sound too big, but we like to think that we turn the facade into a Wimbledon experience, because people are watching it, because they see two people competing. Those people might not know who is who, because you can log in from a wide, it could be hundreds of people watching the same facade there, and whoever logs in first and second gets the controls. And the winner stays on. So the winner can choose to wait for the next competitor. And people watch it because they say, hey, look, you know, and there is the shared experience again. That's what's so nice. That's why okay, now I'm philosophizing, maybe too much, but when you're watching a tennis game, you're sitting there in the stadium and you're all watching the same thing. And you're right there. You're in the moment. It's happening right there and then. And that is a very important feeling. It makes you so aware of being, you know, alive, you know, and maybe it's too esoteric, but it really does something to people. They really, it brings a smile to their faces. And
I was going to say that.
Yeah, it's funny. And that's why airlines are also happy with it. They said, hey, you know, we got smiling passengers, and smiling passengers are not going to cause any trouble. They're happy. And it's such a small thing. And Pong, it's such a basic game. It was actually the first commercially successful console. That's funny, but yeah, it's such the graphics, they are so simple. And that's
the feeling that I got, is that it would just make people so much happier, and it would be a stress reliever, and
absolutely
just make people have a good experience at a place like an airport.
Yeah. And the airport where people are waiting, so they have a long dwell time, and it's also a captive audience, right? So I've gone, so we're at the gate mostly, so they've gone through security, and then even I, you know, that when I fly, once I'm through security, it's a kind of a no man's land, you know. It's like, now it's my time, and because, you know, you made it, and especially when you're at the gate, you know, that is really because you do some shopping maybe, and then you show up half an hour at least, most of the time, maybe even more, before you're actually boarding. You're at the gate. Then what? Now, waiting. So to create a sense of belonging, a sense of creating shared experiences, that has such an effect on that group that is amazing. And I don't need to take surveys or polls. It's just that the people, you can see it. They have a shared experience, and that makes a team out of them almost. Yeah, super nice. So yeah, that's then I think, yeah, great. Why don't we have this at more places?
Well, Remco, I can see video window Olympics in your future. I
Yeah, that
just
would be,
can't
that
imagine
would
it
be.
not becoming something that is completely kind of takes the globe by storm. I mean, as we build more climate efficient buildings and take advantage of natural sunlight, it seems like we're going to have just thousands and thousands of cubic feet of space that would be ideal for this technology. It just seems like we just need to get the word out, and you could literally take the planet by storm. It's just really amazing technology.
Can I quote you on that, Joel?
Absolutely.
I'll tell my, yeah, that's our vision. That's the mission. Yeah, that's what we're building, but we need investors to who also share this mission and vision. Because we've talked to investors that say, okay, yes, do you care what's shown on your hardware? And let's focus on as much revenue as possible. And I get that, but I think that there's a lot of value in showing art, and you just have to find ways of maybe making a revenue out of that, so that the investors are happy and see their money worth, but that there's still that mission that we can have meaningful content, so that we're not once again another commercial screen, because that, I don't want to have invented something that will be part of energy waste, because a lot of digital signage at this point takes up a lot of energy. That yeah, especially here in Europe, energy is scarce,
It's a
or very,
premium. Yes.
it's becoming very expensive. Why not take something that is far more sustainable, and why not also use that moment to tell stories worth spreading? And
I think the
yeah.
I think the business proposition is, again, goes back to the happy customer. I mean, our environment plays such a role in our feelings, and any technology that can tap into the power of sight and make us happy and bring us together at the same time is just truly amazing.
Yeah, yes, that's our mission. And but of course we have a lot of discussions also with the media agencies, and coming from the commercial field, I've been making commercials a long time. There are fantastic commercials. I don't know if you're too young for this, but maybe the Guinness commercial with the horses coming out of the sea, that was amazing. That is, that I think we need to, or I hope we go back there. And those were really visually stunning, and also in a bit poetic way. It triggered your imagination, and very visual. That was very visual storytelling. And yeah, that is, if you have a facade, the size of a couple of cinema screens, you better be careful on what you show there, and how you turn that window facade basically into communication form. So there's more to it. It's a new language, because it's not just one screen. So that's why you've seen that too. We developed kind of wallpaper, if you say, because we if you have the entire facade, hundreds of squares of meters, there might be some areas, yes, we can show commercials. But other areas are more dedicated to flight information or wayfinding or any way of information that needs to be conveyed. What do you do with the rest? You still need that glare control, and you don't want to have a binary solution blocking out, just turning it gray. You want to add an experience there, and you have the opportunity to make that an immersive experience. And that's where we came in with rendering trees. So we render a tree that grows its branches and its leaves based on light sensor input. So we have a light sensor, say, whoa, there's a lot of sunlight. We need to bring down the average transparency of the glass to X. And then we render the tree up to that point. So the amount of branches and the amount of leaves that we will render based on that required reduction in transparency. And then we throw in a virtual wind. So the branches and the leaves, they will move, and as if you're in a forest, as if the canopy throws in the dappled light, and that creates a sense of nature. And that is a very soothing experience. And that's the kind of wallpaper that we create. And since it's procedural generative video, so it will always be a different tree. It's totally a chance start, and then from that seed, basically the tree grows and the branches grow. And yeah, we bring nature into airports. You don't see so many trees near airports because birds are very dangerous for the engines of the planes. So they don't want birds there. But people really like nature, providing at least the shadow, because the shadow is indistinguishable from the shadow that you'll see from a real tree. Of course, when you look at the facade, you know it's not a real tree, because yeah, it looks very photorealistic, but yeah, you know it's not a tree. But the shadow on the floor is yeah, it's kind of magic. It really has that dappled light, and that is yeah, that's really nice. And that's how we can combine all these yeah, elements, and that's what we call the future of glare control. So no longer binary, no longer mechanical, and that's where our long-term vision is. Yeah, what do you want to see for your glare control? If well, we're now talking to a big manufacturer. I'm not sure if we can already mention it, but it would allow to also penetrate into the residential applications. So it could be your own window at home. And then the question, what will your glare control be? Maybe you want to see some news facts, maybe you want to read something, but it always is also glare control. And it could, I don't think you will read a book on your window. I'm not saying that's not so practical, but maybe it could be. When I read a non-fictional book, I can have those marks that I make, and then those marks are summarized, and then they kind of prompt me for those things, like, hey, you know, this was something that you marked yesterday. Hey, look at it. And that's how you actually memorize, because you keep being triggered with the things that you thought were important from that book. And that's just in an email or in the app itself. Those kind of things. So we could add that. I don't want it to be a compulsive or no, how do you call that? I don't want to be that you have to look at it. No, it should be in a yeah, it's a soothing way, like,
be
hey,
something, yeah, draws you
yeah.
in, yeah.
Yeah, it's glare control. And hey, if you look at the glare control, there's actually a layer of information for you to look at or to receive, and you do something with it or you don't. But that is really yeah. At the end, we thought that would only happen in 5 years, but now there's a pull with a residential application, and that is yeah, it's a big opportunity. And then we want to create a marketplace, kind of an app store, where maybe, because now we reach out to the artists ourselves and we reach out to the art academies, but maybe if we have an app store type of platform, people could upload their contributions and then get paid for that. Because other people will use that as their glare control. And yeah, if we curate it in a way that we have interesting content, I think there's a win-win-win. And that's like our long-term vision. And of course, AI. We're now experimenting with having AI imagery for glare control.
You explained it as wallpaper. If I were to walk through the airport there in Amsterdam, would I be able to see a transparent covering on the window, or would I just be able to look out the window and probably not even be able to tell there's anything over the window?
Both.
Both.
The thing
Okay.
is, as we're part of the transparent window, you could look beyond it in the same way you can look through a gate. So if you
Okay.
focus on the gate, you'll see the gate or the fence. But if you focus beyond it, it kind of blurs out. Of course, we diminish the average. So we create a gray level to make sure that the comfort is there. It's glare control, so it's functional. But what we show, what is being depicted, you could focus on it or not. So you could still look at the planes. I mean, I as a kid, I love to see the planes. I wouldn't like to be fenced in by some technique telling me where to look. And that is we're always transparent.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is,
And I think I use the word wallpaper. Honestly, I would say it's art. But it's a bit pretentious, and some people don't think it's art, so let's call it wallpaper.
I have some relatives that actually hang wallpaper, and they would absolutely tell you they are artists. So they are very much into their craft and how they put everything together.